everyone? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of 10 Minute Tuesday. If you have not already, please like, share, and subscribe. Today, I got my guy, Kelvin, on here. Kelvin, what's going on, bro?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Yeah, it's great to be on with you today.
I appreciate you joining, man. All right, so we've done a number of 10 Minute Tuesdays, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Kelvin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hey, Seiko. Yeah, so Kelvin Lawson, cloud architect, work with a bunch of like cloud stuff. Yeah, but just yeah, really big, really interested in like, the cloud space essentially. Yeah.
Super modest. Good grief. This guy's so smart. I mean, like AWS, Cloud, Azure, GCP, everything, man. One of the smartest people I know, man. I'm gonna hype you up a little bit more. All right, so Kelvin, what really compels you to get into data to begin with, though?
I was actually lucky, so I was in uni. I kind of fell into it. So I was in uni and I was studying electronics engineering. I was gonna go like an engineering route, but then I took one of my courses was like in C++, plus plus, like coding. Yeah, and then I just fell into it. I loved it. I was like, oh yeah, like the computing route is gonna be good for me. Then I gotta finish that. Then went into a master's in computing, and then I just fell in love with like the cloud, data, stuff like that. Like, yeah, sort of I was lucky, and I just fell into it, and I loved it.
Yeah, man, bit smart, man. I mean, just no big deal. Got my master's in computer engineering. Kind of fell into it. All right, so thinking about your journey, right? You're at Lovelytics now, senior lead, I should say, cloud engineer, and doing a lot of great things. But at a certain point, you probably had some roles that you didn't like. So, what's been your least favorite job to date?
Yeah, that's funny because like so I kind of have been lucky and kind of unlucky that I've worked through like so many jobs in like the computing space. So I think ones that I didn't like were sort of like the IT support engineer ones, where like it's like first level, second level, where it's a lot of like uh taking calls and stuff like that. Those were now I'm glad because like I had to go through that, right? Like the experience is great. You see sort of the sector from like the ground up. But then at that time I was like, "Ugh, I can't wait to leave."
Yeah, definitely been there. One of my earlier jobs when I started was on a help desk, so I know that call life, that crazy life. So totally know where you're coming from. All
Yeah.
right, so in life we have a whole bunch of obstacles and different things, especially in our career at times, and even on projects that we're on. So what is your biggest failure with quotation marks around failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. So failure, I'll probably say, and this is when like I was a lot younger. So I was gonna go for a job, and then when you're young, like you're super pumped. Like, yeah, I need this job. If I don't get this job, I'm gonna be so upset. And that was it. Like there was this job I was going for, and I did pretty great, but I didn't get it because of like the whole experience factor. So I didn't have a lot of experience at that time, so I didn't get it. I still had to like go through some maybe like a couple more years of like working in the field before I got that job. But then I didn't get it, so I was pretty bummed out. Yeah, just upset. Like I think that's one of the biggest failure because I took it real hard. Took it real hard. I was upset for a while, but yeah, I think that was it. That taught me sort of like perseverance and like not being really uh super emotionally connected to just one job or just one exact role. Like being pretty open. Yeah, like if one doesn't work out, then there's so many more. Like the space is pretty broad as well. So like just being open to different opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I had a similar experience as well. There was a job I went for, a mega company. That was kind of a turning point in my career. And I went for it, study. Well, I didn't say I studied. Like, I just was feeling myself. I was like, yeah, I know this like the back of my hand. Like, I got this. I'll see y'all later. Like, and then went through the experience and didn't get it. And I was just like, man, I got a lot to learn. And I took it personal. But I think similar to you, right? You kind of learn to pivot and there's a lot of opportunities and kind of use that moment to grow from.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right. So, thinking about where you're at, different jobs, different careers, you're growing and everything, there have been a lot of lessons that you learned. So, what's really one major lesson that you think your job has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
Oh, that's great. I think yeah, flexibility and just being open to like learning different stuff. Yeah, like if you're getting into the space pretty new, like you might be tempted to like just follow one route, but like being open to like learning new technologies, new the space is changing every time. There's new stuff coming out. So like I'm not saying to completely pivot, but like letting yourself, giving yourself the opportunity to like learn different stuff. Like, oh yeah, so I'm into data, I'm into like cloud technology. Oh yeah, okay, let's use that one. I'm into like cloud architecture. Let me learn a little bit of like SQL over here. Let me learn some Python here and there. It's really good. It gives you more opportunities and it makes the ride smoother and a lot more fun.
It does. It does. I think definitely pivot or to piggyback on what you're saying, like the ability to learn multiple things. One, it keeps you interested in what you're doing, and
Yeah.
then two, it keeps you like more marketable in the long term. Like if something happens at whatever, or if one product that you learn is going downstream, you're just like, all right, I know how to pick up something else, and I'm able to have a good life.
Yeah, exactly. And like all the like I've learned that like everything is sort of like interconnected or intertwined in some way. So like whatever you learn, you probably use it sometime down the line, like in your role, whatever. Yeah. So it's pretty good to like always be open to like new stuff.
Yeah, so actually, that leads me to a follow up question or to a question on that statement. Has there been a time where you learn a concept or a technology or something just on your own time, maybe like 2, 3 years prior, and then you found yourself pulling it down the line on a particular project that you were working on?
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot. I think for me, because I started off with like the infrastructure architecture stuff, I didn't really want to focus mostly on like the programming languages. So like learning Python pretty early on was pretty super super helpful for me because down the line like you need it for like automating stuff like and Python's pretty good for like it connects really well with like Bash, like a lot of like scripting languages, so like Bash or PowerShell or stuff like that. So it's yeah, that was something that I learned early on, at least a little bit early on that I was able to use down the line.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so thinking about someone who's just starting out in their career, we're thinking, maybe entry level or someone who's going through a boot camp and just graduated and they're trying to break into like the data field. What is one piece of advice you give someone who's just starting out?
Yeah, yeah. I would say learn as much as possible. Yeah, just immerse yourself. Watch as many like I'm a YouTube guy. I do them so, but watch as many YouTube videos as you can. Read as many articles as possible. It's a never-ending cycle, and like there's always gonna be that gem that you're gonna find online that just like if it's difficult sometimes, but you're gonna find one video or one article that just like explains it in the best way possible. And like once it hits, and then like yeah, you're good.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's definitely great advice. I think a lot of people who are growing or constantly building in this field, like they just consume so much information, whether it's blogs, YouTube,
Yeah,
creating it themselves. But it's like constantly like trying to learn and grow in the skill set. So that's fantastic advice.
yeah.
All right, Kelvin, tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact on you.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So it's I think foundationally it's like family and like a couple of really, really close friends. Yeah, just like that structure has been really important to me. But then I think professionally, I've been lucky to like work with like a lot of really good colleagues and like a few managers that like have been pretty like impactful in my career. Like now at Lovelytics, so many like really good managers that I work with, people I work with on the same level as well. But then before I moved into the cloud space, I had one manager that sort of like super smart guy that opened my eyes into like the possibilities. Like I worked at a nonprofit like a few years ago, and just that day to day with him, like and he teaching me, like showing, sort of teaching and letting me have the opportunity to like work on my own as well. Yeah, that was that's someone that has really like impacted me professionally that I'm gonna hold on like for the rest of my life, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super awesome. That's super awesome. All right, Kelvin, where can listeners find you at online?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn, don't do a lot of like social media, but yeah, LinkedIn, Kelvin Lawson, you can find me there and I'm usually like consuming a lot of content on LinkedIn too. So
Good deal. All right, y'all heard him. Find him on LinkedIn. I'm gonna work on getting him to actually create content. He got a lot of stuff in that brain, so we'll see him on the channel. Have his own K Lawson at YouTube one day. But appreciate you, bro. Thanks for joining 10 Minute Tuesday, man. I really appreciate it.
thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. And as I said in the beginning, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. And talk to y'all next week. Have a great one.